So in fact, just before this, we were having a brief discussion with Professor Junjunwala on, so there was a concern as to how to scale it up, how to give it a more commercial, commercialization of this whole idea. So, yeah, so because that is the biggest challenge. I mean, that is why precisely we are here to figure it out, that can it be, is there a component which can be, you can help us out in scaling it up?
Different products and like I'm working on wheelchair. So just want to know about the different perspectives.
Yeah. All these products have, these are, as you mentioned, user-centric, perspective-centric. Okay. Of course, wheelchair has attained enormous amount of standardization. Still then, it is a huge problem as far as compliance is concerned. In fact, my PhD was on user's perspective of devices. So, interestingly, I am a mentor for BIRAC fellows who are medtech innovators from, so I am with Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai, where I mentor them for especially those who are looking forward to the medical device innovation, where, to take it to the market, because ultimately the consumption of those materials will be human beings. So what they look for, as an individual when they are going to embrace that technology, what is it that they look for, to enhance the marketability of those products. So I'm engaged with them through TIS. So I am here as I was being introduced. So I'm basically an occupational therapist. Occupation is work, therapy is treatment. So whatever we do during our entire waking time, morning till night when you go off to sleep, anything that we do, they come under the purview of work. So some work is for yourself and some work is for commercial gain. Okay, your job is a commercial gain. So anything that we do under the purview of this qualifies as work in our, understanding as an occupational therapist point of view. Because all these skills, they are essentially acquired skills. We are born with only one skill, crying. To cry. Okay. Today all of us are sitting here, listening to this, smiling, talking, responding, because we had cried at that very crucial juncture. If it was delayed by just a minute, we wouldn't be sitting here like this. So that first cry is not an emotional cry, it is a reflexive cry. So we are all born with that skill, although it is a very primitive skill, but we all are born with that skill. Rest everything is acquired. Okay, rest everything is learned. We learn them. We master it and then we forget the process of learning. It is like eating. See, all of us sitting here, we can eat. Okay, but if, I'm a father of 2 kids. So when they were growing up, I used to scold them. Why can't you eat properly? Why your food is not reaching the mouth? Why it is reaching everywhere except the mouth? And today, the food will reach only the mouth, nowhere else. So this entire transition and transformation, it is a skilled process. We have learnt it and we forget. And we take it for granted. So not all are lucky like this. Okay, we might forget this skill. Okay, we might lose this ability to do this as simple a task as eating. So everything that we do needs a skill. We all are sitting and listening. These are all skills. Okay, we might lose them at any point of time. So how do we regain these skills? How these skills can be restored? So occupational therapy is all about that. Okay, so in this whole process, what happens is, There are a bit of it that can be regained through human endeavors, that is, certain changes within me, within my body. Okay, but then that improvement always has a limit. It cannot go on improving throughout life. There is a window period and we recover to that point. Thereafter, to recover beyond that, to be able to succeed, to achieve those tasks, then we need technological intervention. So that is the subject, that how we do it. So that is my topic, designing of frugal devices. Why frugal devices? Because the patient walks in, they narrate their problem, and we create a solution then and there. That is the challenge. Okay, so today a patient comes and says that I cannot write. So that is a need today. That need will not exist 1 month from now, because the need is very fluctuating. What is a need today for you, it may not be the same again, because it is contextual. Something else happens and, your need changes. So 1 month from now, writing may not be this thing. You might say eating. Okay, so it has to be dished out then and there. That is why it has to be frugal. It has to be simple. It can't be complex that it will take next 6 months for an outcome to happen. So frugal devices touching human emotions. So the need, that is the emotion part of it. Right? So when we deliver that need at that point of time, that is when the device gets emotionally connected. Okay? And enhancing the functionality of the compromised hand. So this is a small little model. So you can see here, this is, we call it as a health tunnel. This is my perception, after having worked. Okay? So something goes wrong, some neurological problem, some physical problem, some birth defects. We are not talking about cough and cold and fever. We are talking about conditions and problems that will have a lifelong implications. Okay, so the person essentially enters this tunnel through a physician. That person walks through, different host of professionals in this journey, engages with the patient in different capacity. And then this is the exit point. Okay, and this is the society. So what is the society? What is the functional society? Okay, you all know about an emotional society. Right, emotional society means you have a parent, so you have a father, so there is a particular emotional connect. You have a mother, an emotional connect. You have a wife, an emotional connect. But there is a functional realm of the society. Right, so you all are engineers. Okay, who is doing great? This who will decide? It is the society who decides that how you have impacted. So if I am the society, if I am at the receiving end of your services, I am going to decide, I am going to endorse that, your contribution has really touched me, it has impacted me. Right? So it is the society that decides. So there are many untold norms. So we have a patient who just starts writing, but that writing is not sufficient to appear in an exam. Okay, in exam also you write, and just writing at your leisure, both are writing only. But there is an obvious difference. Okay, there is an obvious difference between these two. So when I am saying that I am making the person independent in writing, okay, I make sure that I have factored in all these aspects. I am making him independent in writing in an exam time, in his leisure time. Okay, maybe, a running note on a moving bus. Right? So there are varieties of it. So depending on the demand of the individual, I should be able to make him independent in writing. So it is not about me sitting here and I ask the patient that, okay, you write now. Right? So how do we prepare? So this empty space is all about, preparation. Okay, how do we engage with the individual so that the individual is prepared enough to move here. Okay, appropriately prepared enough. See, all these things that I'm trying to tell, this all applies to all of us. Okay, this all applies to you in your capacity. Somebody is the, let us take example. Who is the eldest in the family? Among the siblings, eldest brother, sister? Anybody? You are the eldest, right? Anybody who is the youngest? Okay, you are the youngest. So when you are here, your job roles might be very similar. The responsibility, expectations. But the moment you go back to your respective homes, everything differs, right? Am I correct? Tell me one responsibility that is different, that would be different probably as compared to the girl on the yellow dress.
I think as to older siblings, I often feel the responsibility that if there is some financial thing, I should be the one who should be able to get it. Because my younger brother is still studying. So if there is some financial, I feel the responsibility that I should take it. But I believe that.
So you have to earn earlier than your brother.
Yeah, because I earned.
It can't happen the other way around?
That could happen, but until he crosses the college, and also that when I was in college, I didn't have that supporting figure above me. And now, because he has someone like me, he gets a better privilege, right? I felt.
As compared to you?
Yeah.
Do you agree, or your position is same, or you are different?
Definitely, it's true. You don't really have responsibility as such.
Okay. So there's obvious difference. So these roles and responsibilities, it will ultimately percolate to the physical demands, physical capability. Okay. So these are all intertwined that way. Right? So to be able to reach here, there are a lot of fine tuning that has to be done. And in this gap, there is something, this technological, that is our today's topic. How do we do that? So there is a difference between movement and meaningful action. So this is a little bit of our technical language. So as a common man, you always think about movement. Okay. So let us take example of anybody who plays keyboard here, guitar, any musical instrument. You play what? Guitar. Anybody who attempted but gave it up? Guitar. Okay, great. We have 2 examples. Okay. So, but do you know how to play guitar? Yeah? But you can show at least. Get up and show. So you know actually. No?
Yeah.
True? She knows? Huh? So what she showed was a movement. Okay, you know how to play guitar and she has exactly the same movement. Your fingers doesn't have any extra additional, any different movement. Okay, in anatomical terms, both of you have exactly the same movement. But why is it that your finger movement will produce a music and her finger movement will produce a noise? Okay. Now you might say, sir, I have practiced, she has not practiced. Sir, I have learned, you have not. How to unravel that? Practice and learning. What is the science, technical science of learning? Okay, all those things. So those becomes one microchip for us of human functionality. So for you have the mobile phone has a, what you call, circuit board. So for us, every human function, beneath that there is a circuit board. And we need to find out which part in that circuit board is compromised. And that is why the function is not happening the way it should be. Right? So movement and meaningful action. So her movement and you are playing the guitar, there is a difference. Do you agree to that? Okay. So the same thing applies here. So this thing. So frugal innovation provides functional solutions through limited resources. So as we, definitely there is a resource crunch. Okay. And in fact, with Professor Jhunjhunwala, we are discussing that these work, how do we reach out to people? How does it reach out to people, these work? Customized technical solutions are a mandate for a precise, focused, and tangible outcome. So this is the name of the game, that how can we customize this? There is a portal called abledata.com which is funded by the US government. Okay? And that has a listing of close to 42,000 products. Why it has a listing of 42,000 products? For the very simple reason that these things cannot be standardized. That is why the product line is such a huge thing, because the requirements are so very different. Okay, but your purpose, the purpose of many of you attending this is, all of you, as I understand, you are into innovation, designing. Okay, so through this presentation, the other idea is trying to look at the design concept from another side and see how it feels like. That is the purpose. Designed to meet their immediate emotional aspirations. So can it connect? Can you connect with them? So we make these devices right in front of them. So the patient is sitting in front of me. So that they can vent out all their emotions. They'll keep on poking you. They'll keep on bothering you. They'll keep on finding your faults. Okay, so it's a very different ball game altogether when that individual who needs that is sitting right in front of you, as compared to, doing it away from them. Right? So designed to meet their immediate emotional aspirations. So we generate need, manage resources, market them, evaluate, conceptualize, design, develop, handcraft them. Okay, so I use this term. I was quite impressed with when Professor Jhunjhunwala, he made this. So he was discussing with Dr. Akila, who was attending that through these things, and he used this exact term, that they literally handcraft. Try them, negotiate. So there is a whole lot of negotiation process that are involved into that. Sell them, obtain inputs, upgrade, wean off. So one of the main thing is weaning them off. Right? I wear specs. And she is wearing, okay, yes, he is wearing specs. Every morning when I get up and have to search for this and put it, I tell that I wish I didn't have to do that. Do you resonate with me? People who are using specs? Okay, so one of the things that we look at is, will there be a day when the person will be able to manage, not do, will manage things by themselves without the assistance of that. So weaning off also is an important element in this whole process. So this is in your technical term, okay. This is my area of work: low technology, soft technology, and minimal technology. So this is in the field of assistive technology, these are some of the jargons that are used. So this is my domain, okay. This thing, okay. So the complexity is in its simplicity, okay. So here I have, this is in my family, one small kid in my family. The parents have showered the child with host of toys, cupboard filled of toys. Thank you. Okay. Can you hear the scream? Okay. You know why the child screamed? The mother is telling what you are playing with. Okay. You play with your toys, this thing. And the child screamed, rebelled. That no, this is my toy. Okay. So for us to figure out what will actually attract the child, we have no answer. Right? So we have to find an answer. Okay, we have to find an answer that what will actually attract the individual. So human-centric. This picture, I'm sure all of you have seen in your family, young cousins, brothers, sisters, my kids, I don't know others. How many of you are parents here? Yes. So you would have seen, we have a parent here. Okay, so, right? So the complexity is in its simplicity. So to figure it out, that what attracts the child, that mixer, grinder, jar. Okay, what is so fascinating? Right? So if we have an answer to that, and those answers, can we attach it to whatever innovation that we are coming up with? Probably we might be able to have an answer for a huge problem called as device rejection. Are you familiar with it? You never heard? Please Google it. Okay, device abandonment, device rejection, device non-use. Okay, today the entire Western world, where assistive technology is state-sponsored program. In India, a very small part is sponsored. Rest everything is out of your pocket. So many of these developed countries, the state sponsors them. Very high-end products also. So the government is concerned that if these devices will ultimately be rejected, the rejection rate has gone, studies have found out, rejection rate has gone as high as 75%. Can you imagine? If 100 wheelchairs, yes, you are in wheelchair, yes. If 100 wheelchairs has been distributed, 75 will be dumped. So the government is really worried that if we are investing so much of financial resources, human resources, R&D, and ultimately 75 of them will be locked up and never be used, then what is? So they are digging into trying to understand users' perspective. That what is it that the individual would like? Okay, so there is a lot you can, very interesting findings you will see. So the question is, this is how you would have seen your hands writing. Okay. How about this handwriting? How about this handwriting? How will they write? They also want to write. Okay, that is their aspiration, that is their need. If they are not able to write, probably many of them will be laid off. Okay. So you may not have to, in your mind, this is what is always going, right? Because you are seeing your hand, 5 fingers working to your command. But tomorrow, if your hand becomes this, then what happens? Okay, so here comes the role of our work, what we are doing, my work and the presentation. Okay, so find a solution to this. Remember that the solution is not about, okay, this is your right hand affected, please write with your left hand. Okay, why will they come to an IIT engineer to hear it that you write with your left hand? Right? Why will they come to a professional to seek that? That to his, neighborhood people will tell that now you write with your left hand. Right? So this is my work. So this is how a hand will come to me. Okay? This is a representational video. So this is a hand that comes to me. It goes through a process of grooming. Okay, where the movements are being restored. Okay, the sensory aspects are being restored. We are trying to restore even the individual's thinking process, trying to give them a sort of confidence. Remember that it's a huge transition. You have no idea what that individual is going through when they are constantly being reminded of a hand that is compromised. Okay. So once it is during this, so this is everybody's aspirations and dream, that the hand ultimately should become like this. But it doesn't happen, it remains a dream most of the time. It can get arrested at any phase, in that entire journey, it can get arrested. So it can happen that the individual might just sink into that whole idea that here on, nothing is going to happen for me. I'm done. Okay, so that has to be, that is where we intervene. We ensure that the individual doesn't sink into that kind of a thought process, because it is very difficult to pull them back. Once they have resigned to their fate, okay, it is very difficult to pull them back. I mean, there's no motivation. So the earlier we catch hold of them, the better it is. And when we catch hold of them, means what? They need an answer. Catching means they need an answer. So they might ask in that whole process, at any point of time, they might ask, I want to write. So you can't say that, okay, wait for next 2 months. So now, depending on at what stage they have asked you that I want to write, your designs will now start varying. Because the performance of the hand is different. Okay, today what is the performance of this hand? After 1 week, the performance will change. The device has to be re-customized for him. Okay, and the process will go on. Okay. This is the hand of anybody by any chance is from Visakhapatnam? No. Okay. So this is the hand of an anatomist. Do you know anatomist? Anatomy? Anatomy word you would have heard. So anatomy is a very important basic science in medicine. Okay, where we talk about the human body. So this is the hand of a physician who is an anatomist. So this accident happened in Visakhapatnam railway station when she slipped between the moving train and the platform. Luckily, she was saved, but both hands were affected. So this is the right hand that you see. So when she came to us, she had 3 requests. She should be able to open the door of her office and her car door. Number 2, she should be able to write on the blackboard. And number 3, she should be able to, one of the important, because she is in a medical school, okay, so she has to dissect human body. So these 3 things. Okay. So, I mean, this is how they present to us. We spoke about human function, right? So as an occupational therapist, this is how they will present it to us. So the journey went on for almost 12 to 14 months. Okay. This whole lot of things were given. What I would want to draw your attention to the one that is circled. Any guesses? This is a chalk holder. Okay. So you would have always seen your hand holding the chalk. I'm sure all of you at some point would have written on the blackboard holding a chalk. Okay. But a chalk holder can be like this. So it is to suit this hand. Okay. So this is a chalk holder. So this design takes into account at the point when this chalk holder was made, exactly what was the functionality of that hand. Okay, at that point of time, what was the, functional contribution of the thumb, of the index finger, whatever is remaining. At that point, what is the functional contribution of individual fingers, and then this is designed. So it is a frugal design, but it is the context that makes it extremely powerful, potent, and important. Because if I remove this, if I just put that chalk in the hand, there is no way that she can pursue that responsibility. Right? So if I remove this, there's no way, that means that work is finished, it is stopped. Clear? This is a picture that you saw, I showed you. Now this is what we design. Okay, so this person works this is a road traffic accident, and the person works in a taluk office, local taluk office. So he has to type, but one writing work that he had to do is maintaining the ledger book, which is handwritten. Okay, and it has to be done with the right hand, because the left hand he cannot, because it has to be done in a particular way, and during that time, the left hand is engaged already. So for him, the best option is to use this hand to write. Okay, so this is how we craft this out. We take into account the small little movement that is possible in these two fingers. Because it is very easy to mask them completely. Okay, it is very easy to mask them completely. But if it is over-masked, it is a human psyche that the moment it gives them a feel that I am dependent, then the compliance will get compromised. They should always get a feel that I am still doing it. That is the key. So to zero on to that, that circle is always a challenge. And that is a dynamic thing, because today what is his ability, after 1 week the ability will change. That is how it happens. See this hand. Which all fingers are there? Ring and little finger. Right? This is a ring and little finger. And you write with your which finger? Tell me, you write with which finger? Huh? Why you're so hesitant? You write, you've been writing for so many years. Look at your hand and tell this, I use this. So, thumb, index, no, middle. These 3 fingers. See, these 3 fingers are not there. Okay. The obvious response will be, okay, write with your left hand. But here, he is, by any chance, anybody is from Karnataka? No. So, there is a place called Kushal Nagar in northern part of Karnataka, which is, you have these Tibetan monks who, because of encroachment by China to Tibet, Karnataka gave them the political asylum. Okay, Dharmashala is the biggest and Karnataka is the second biggest. So he is a Buddhist monk. Okay, and this accident happened, the cracker burst in his hand. And this is the outcome of that. So everybody around him, including the orthopedic surgeon who managed him, told, you better start writing with the left hand. Then this fellow comes to me and literally begs that, sir, if I start writing with my left hand, I will be packed up back to Tibet. Because I am not permitted to write holy scriptures with my left hand. I have to write with my right hand. That is the, compulsions that individuals go through. These compulsions may not come out. You may not find those compulsions, because the interaction has to happen at that level. So he said that you do anything, I have to write with my right hand only. And this is. So this device and this design is taking care of the role of the thumb, index and the middle finger. So similarly this boy, you'll be surprised. So he came to us at the age of 14 years. Okay. And he came all the way from Nigeria. Right? Because this child doesn't seem to be interacting with anything because he can't do anything. Okay, so there are many other things. It is short video footage. So he can't hold a pen conventionally. So this is the device given to his hand. And you can see now, he can create lines. Earlier, because you need, all of your writing, you always need to apply certain pressure to be able to, create that writing. If that pressure is not happening, then you will not be able to do it. Okay, so that is this thing. And the child came, of course he had some other problems, but one of the key one of the key requests by the parent were, can my child write? This is anybody from Orissa? No? All of you are from Tamil Nadu? Huh? Kerala. Okay, let me see if I have some Kerala cases. Okay, so this case is from Bhubaneswar. Okay, and he works he's an attender in a government office. And he had what is called as brachial plexus injury. Okay, so this side is paralyzed. He had undergone multiple surgeries. But one of his requirement was, as a attender in a government office, distributing file and distributing water and tea. Okay, so now he cannot, because he cannot hold it that way. He cannot position the limb that way, right? So if you see this, now with this little background, you see this. How do we support a table, a plate, when your hand is always on the trunk? You have to keep it away to be able to create that space to support the, tray. So this is how this thing. So there are certain muscle actions that have been used. By looking at it, you probably cannot make it out that how does it work. Okay, see this. So his job was put to a question mark at his place. Remember that he's an attender and he travels from Bhubaneswar to Manipal via Chennai. It is close to 2,200 kilometers. They travel. Okay, they travel to get a solution, right? He's a driver, okay, and he is with a brachial plexus injury. He had multiple surgeries and he had finished with all his life's earning in his medical management. And he was told that, you please stop driving. Now the place I come from, it is not a very plain land. You have mountains, you have ghats, you have all those things. Okay, so he's a driver by profession and he was told to stop driving. And one day he came and whispered in my ear that, sir, today I came driving from my place. So his place is around 36 kilometers from our hospital. So I was shocked and he said that, sir, please don't get angry. I now knew that he's been pushed to the wall. His life situations, it will, whatever we say, he is going to drive because that is his best possibility in his life. And with this problem, he will not get any job and he does not have any other skill. Right. So then I asked, okay, tell me what is your problem in driving? Then he said, this is the right hand. He said, sir, I can manage everything with my left hand. But when I'm changing the gear, then my steering wheel is naked. Is there something that the right paralyzed hand, can it be held onto the steering wheel? Because it's paralyzed, he can't keep it. It will just drop like that, like a lifeless object. Okay, so this is how. Okay, so this is how it is anchored. right? And he rotates with the other hand, right? And so this is his driver. This is in front of our hospital. Okay, so this is, remember that all these things happens in almost real time. So they come in, it takes maximum, most of it is done in a day's time. Okay, and then some of course takes a little more trial and error. It can be as simple as scale. I'm sure all of you use scale, right? And it is, anybody from architecture? Last time we had some students from architecture. No. Okay, but even as an engineering student, I'm sure using a scale is of great importance. So you have these two students at 7th, 8th grade student. They had a lot of problem in holding a scale. You might be wondering that how a scale holding is a problem. So both these girls, they are from Kerala. Okay? And they are with birth defects. And they cannot handle a scale. Because if you hold a scale, this is how you hold a scale. But if you have to hold a scale with one point, you cannot, it will move. When your pen is on, because pen or pencil, it pushes against the scale. Right? So it is not enough, support is there, the scale will move. And the same task, you will have to go on repeating it. And that is a huge problem. Okay, so you can see here, this is how she does. And then the scale starts moving. Right? For her also a similar problem. So all the grips are changed. Scale remains the same, okay? But the grips are all changed. For this girl, holding the scale with this hand, just the scale is a problem. She can't just pick up like you and me. So every time she has to keep the pen, pick up the scale, put it on that hand. So the simple task can become such a, such a big thing for them that starts biting into their emotions. Right? So this is a stroke patient. Right? We call it as infantile hemi. It's a birth, stroke by birth. Okay. So she wants to drink water with the affected side. And with the unaffected side, she wants to eat. Anybody who has the habit of drinking water while eating? Anybody? You prefer just a sip of water and you do it, right? Anybody else? Huh? You do it. Huh?
Naturally happens.
But naturally it doesn't happen.
No, it's a very dry food that you eat.
Okay. But I have that habit. For me, if I don't gulp little bit of water in between this thing, I don't get that satisfaction. So this is what she had. So every time she will call the mother to drink, that is one option. Other is the sound hand will be smeared with rice, dal and all, and then she will hold the water glass with that. She doesn't like, but she has no other option. Okay. So here you see a 17-year-old infantile hemi wanted to drink water the affected side, and when this is the first sip, you'll be surprised. This is the first sip of water in this footage that you see. And she had to wait for this for how many years? Huh?
Almost 6 months. Since she said she's
17 years. It's a long wait. Okay. And the moment she sipped, she started crying. Mother, father standing there started crying. The device is frugal. Okay, but the impact that it can create, okay, the sensitivity of it is enormous. Right? So, from the engineering community, the reason why one of the reason is, can we refine them? Okay, so we provide the concept and can you refine them? Right, because refining it beyond a point is beyond our capability. So that is where probably you'll be coming into the picture. So then here he's a stockbroker. Okay? And this is his hand, road traffic accident. Now, for a stockbroker, you know what is the importance of being in front of the laptop, computer. Okay, the speed with which they have to work, right? Because they have to remain updated all the time. So this gentleman, after this, because for typing on the keyboard, you have to have, dissociated movements of the fingers. They should all be able to move independently. So for this gentleman, nothing moves independently. So the entire hand lands on the keyboard, punching in multiple keys. So that will cause a lot of errors on the spreadsheet. So he stopped using this hand, this thing. So now that means two hands work. He is doing with one hand and his entire speed is reduced by half. And he was having a lot of problem in his work. Okay, so that is when he came and said that, can something be done? And then we train him. Okay, we work on the speed of it. Right? So now he can press one at a time. And when we matched up to the 50% of his original speed, that is when he was let go. Okay, so you can see we are timing the patient. Can you see this difference in the hand size? So it is a birth defect. This young girl, so she came and told that, I want to help my mother in kitchen work. Yes? All of you do that? Sure? Your smile says no, you don't. Okay, at least the eldest sibling, I'm sure, she has to chip in to a great extent. Okay, so this young girl, like many other young girls, she came and expressed that I really want my mother to, chip in with my mother, for the entire family. Okay, if I can help my mother in the kitchen work, it will be of great help to the mother. I said, fine. Okay, so she says, I can manage many things. But one thing I have a problem, and that is handling hot utensils on and off the oven. So what is the problem? The problem is she has no control over the opening and closing of the hand. When it will open, when it will close, she has no control. It will open and close on its own. So now you can imagine that if you are handling, a kadhai filled with prepared food, and if when you're lifting it up, suddenly it goes off. Okay, then what happens? So she made a specific request that can I be helped for that work? Rest everything, they're pretty safe, I'm managing. But I'm not able to handle hot utensils on and off the oven. I'm sure this task, whether it is boy or girl, everybody has done. I also have done it. So here is this thing. So what did we do? I'll keep the music on so that at least people will not fall asleep. Okay? This is our workshop. This is me making. So we design and craft them. Okay, they are pretty basic, I'm sure. Anybody who's into mechanical engineering background? Mechanical, yeah. So I'm sure you'll relate. So we are making a device which will enable her to this thing. So this is the device that we are making. So irrespective of whether your hand is open or closed, you can handle it. So we make an assessment, we find out what is the kind of utensils that they use at home, how big they are, for how many people they have to cook. Because whatever design I make, it has to support. Okay, remember that all these devices that you are seeing, they are all workable devices. I mean, they work. Okay. Okay, so this is how it is, whether irrespective of your hand open or closed, it will still latch on to your hand. This is for the kadai. Okay, and this is for the, I think so these two kind of vessels, you all must be familiar. Okay. What is this? Wake up, other this will come in. Okay. So it is a snake. So what would be our response if a just snake slithers through and is you find it under your chair?
Just leave the room.
Huh?
Just leave the room.
Just quietly.
No, tell it to someone who is professional.
Okay. So now why I'm telling this is, you see this hand is injured hand. Okay. And he's a snake conservationist. He's a professional snake catcher. And unfortunately he got bitten. Okay. So when he got bitten, he lost certain amount of tissues, nerve damage. Okay. And finally he was told not to do it again. So he comes and tells that, no, I can't stop. Okay, I have to do. Because that is my source of livelihood. That is what I have known. That's my passion, that's my hobby, and that's my work. So there, the place I come from, it has one of the world's highest density of king cobras. There's a king cobra. Okay. And so when he came and told that, sir, I'm not bothered who tells what. I have come to you with the only hope that I'll get back to my work. Now you can imagine how hazardous this job is. Okay. So as you said, everyone, each one, including me, the response will be scoot, scoot and scoot. If a snake comes, scream and scoot. There's no other response. Right? So what keeps him so calm? And do you know why we will run and, fright and flight? Anybody? Why will you run? Will you run? Yes, of course. We run because we are unsure about ourselves. That will we be able to respond to the move of the snake? Are we capable of? So we choose the easiest path, run. Because we can't face, so we run. So why this person will not run? When he knows that one of my hand is damaged. So my creation should be able to instill, it should be able to instill that calmness, composure, confidence that I still can manage the job with whatever has happened on my hand. So me as a creator, I have to take that into account. So when I've never caught a snake and I will never do it. So I had to study his videos, I have to interact, sit with him, understand, that what he thinks, what he feels. Because I have to learn, because what he thinks and what he feels is not mine. Okay, because his thinking is very different. So I really have to educate myself into that and, incorporate them into my designs. At least when I'm designing, those things should play on in my mind. So he's holding the tail with the sound hand, and that is his affected hand. So many of his capabilities he had lost. Okay. So with that device and with his little abilities, matching up, now you can see he's using the affected hand to hold the tail. So he has to keep that mental calmness. But the mental calmness will come from his hands functioning. If he is very unsure about how his hand will perform, then he will not be able to do this. a full-length king cobra. See how calm he is. So when we work with these people, these are the various non-tangible parts. To understand their mental composure, that is, when we deal with them, slowly, we start understanding them. I think so we are running out of time. We'll quickly run through them. So this hand is for an explosive inspector, Government of India. Okay, he blew his hand when he was, dismantling a country-made bomb. He has studied how to dismantle, standard bombs. Okay, and then because it has different formulas and it blew out, and this is this thing. But before that, he had booked his car. Okay, and then there was an issue related to his, license, and then this adaptation was given. Okay, I will come to this last slide. It is quite symbolic since I'm, doing it in Chennai. So this is quite symbolic. So what you are seeing here is, this is her unaffected left hand, okay? And this is her affected right hand, okay? Looks very awkward, right? Why it is significant? Because this young girl, right from the heart of Chennai, travels 900 kilometers to get that device to Manipur. So she is suffering from what is called as rheumatoid arthritis. Okay? So this hand is fused. And nobody has any clue that what has to be done with this hand. Okay. Because if one by one she stops using that hand will freeze, at the earliest. But if we can keep making the hand, whatever way, whether it is looking awkward, it is immaterial in the context of that girl. Because it is only when you are looking through your eyes, it is awkward. When she is looking through her eyes, it is something that she is able to do. Take the spoon to the mouth. Otherwise, there is no way that spoon will ever reach the mouth. It will never reach. Okay. And this was the problem that she is facing. Remember that she's been suffering from this problem last 7 years, right in the heart of the city. And she had to travel 900 kilometers. Right? So that is, now when you look, it looks very easy. Okay, but why didn't it happen for the 7 years? That's a long time, right? 7 years is a long time. Okay, so with that, and I made a point that sometimes we wean off. So here is a patient and he's a boatman. Okay, this is a partially amputated hand. Okay, and finally, he has come out of all the devices that were given to his hand and he's back to his job. He was laid off for this. Okay, because he takes fishermen, because we are on the coast and fishing is a big industry that side. Okay, so he takes fishermen into the high seas. They stay there for a couple of days and come back. So he drives the boat. He's the boatman. So the owner of the boat says, no, I cannot risk the life of 15 people in the high seas. So he's laid off. very depressed, very sad. He was the only earning member of the family. And he was with us for almost 10 months, 10 to 12 months. Lot of devices, and then finally you see them. So he's taking us for a ride. That picture is, we all went, he took us almost a kilometer into the sea, and to show that what actually he does. And for us to know that yes, he can do things. And for his other friend endorsing that yes, this is how it has to be done and it is happening. Right? That's it. Thank you. This is from the inside of the WHO headquarters in Geneva, where I was invited to present these works that I presented to you. Okay, so around 80 people from across the world were invited. I was one of them.